everyone!
Hello!
So many of you know that we recently came back from Tokyo Disneyland.
Yep.
Didn't we have an amazing time?
We had an amazing time, and truth be told, we are still getting over it. We're still trying to get over it because it's, as we always say to everyone, it's such an amazing place.
It really is. So that was our second trip to Japan. We went last year, so if you've seen the previous vlogs, we will put a link below for both series. But we went for the first time in 2017, and then we went again this year. And we want to just do a little vlog today, tell you all about it.
Yes, yep. So basically how we planned it, the different elements of the planning, just to give you a bit of an insight as to what might be involved if you were to plan a trip to Tokyo Disney.
Yeah. The first thing we'll start by saying is Japan is amazing. Everything about it far exceeded our expectations. We were nervous about going. We probably put off going a little bit because it was all the way over there and
outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
Neither of us had travelled that far in that direction before, so...
Yeah. And we didn't know what the cultural differences were going to be, but we were so wrong about any worries that we had. And actually, if you're doubting it, it's one of the safest countries we've ever been to, one of the most friendly. It is probably the friendliest place we've ever been.
One of the most cleanest places we've ever been. So that in itself, those three things, I mean, what more of a reason do you need to go to Japan?
Yeah, so all we would say is that we absolutely love Japan and we adore Tokyo Disneyland. It is, for any Disney fan watching this, it is somewhere you must visit. You must find a way to go there, overcome the long flight, overcome the cost. It's on a bucket list. It has to be done. So we're going to tell you a bit more about each element, and obviously we've had some questions asked on Twitter and Facebook.
So hopefully by the time you watch this vlog, if you weren't already thinking about taking the trip there, you will be now.
Yeah, and obviously it's all our own advice. Now we know people do trips in different ways, but we're just going to tell you how we've done it, how we researched it, and you know, try and pass some of that on, and what worked, what didn't work.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the first thing is when to visit. Now, with all places around the world, there are good times to go and not so good times to go. So for Tokyo Disneyland, we've kind of picked out some of the information we have. Both times we've gone at the end of May, haven't we?
We have, yeah. And
we've been really lucky. The last trip, it didn't rain the whole time we were there, and it was lovely weather. The year before, we did have one rainy day, but it didn't impact it too much.
No, there is that little bit of a risk because it's so close to the coast that you do have that changeable weather, but we've been so lucky on both trips with having beautiful weather. So yeah. And
Tokyo does have seasons, so the winters are very cold and the summers can be very hot, into sort of 32 degrees plus, and that's 90 degrees. So they have real seasons there. So and they follow the exact same as those of us living in the Northern Hemisphere. So in Europe or the US, it's winter in December and it's summer in July. So, so when should we avoid? What's the first thing to avoid?
The key thing is Golden Week.
Avoid Golden Week.
Avoid Golden Week. So Golden Week is early May, and it is extremely busy.
Yeah. It's probably one of the peak times, along with Christmas. So we've got some notes down here, so we're just reminding ourselves. So Christmas and Golden Week, avoid. The dates do vary sometimes for Golden Week, but it's roughly the early May, first week. So check that online. Check for other holidays around the year, like spring break in March. Weekends are extremely busy in Tokyo Disney. So if you can try and plan your trip from Tuesday to Thursday, or we found Monday was also very busy.
It was. Truth be told, we didn't really expect, we thought Monday might quieten down, but it kind of was the same as the weekend, really. Yeah,
it really was different on Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are kind of your ideal 3 days. We'll come on to more about how much time you should have, but if you can avoid them, you may see a catwalk past occasionally as well.
She's doing her little catwalk at the moment.
June to August can be very hot and also humid, and they have a rainy season around June time. I think this year it finished really early, didn't it? They announced that it had finished early, so
yeah, that's a prime example of how the weather can be a little bit changeable.
Yeah. So there we go, that's when to visit. So also in when to visit, you've obviously got seasons and celebrations. So Easter is a very long event in Tokyo Disney, and it was still running at the end of May when we were there. So they have all the Easter, fashionable Easter show at Disney Sea.
You've got the Easter eggs that are around the park that are beautifully decorated.
They are. And obviously in summer they have some summer events with water sprays and things like that, and then obviously Halloween and Christmas. So do check what's on as well when you go.
So now we'll talk a little bit about how we arrange to get there, flight-wise.
Yes, flights.
Yes, flights. So we do DIY. We didn't use a travel agent. There may well be travel agents out there that can help you. Personally, for us, we did DIY, and we chose British Airways on both last year and this year's trip.
Yeah, so we always find with Japan to book it separately. So there's no reason why you can't book the flight yourself, the hotel yourself, and then do Disney park tickets and stuff separately.
Yeah.
There's options to fly direct or indirect. We prefer to fly direct. It's about 11 and a half hours to get there, and it's about 12 hours back from the UK. The US, I mean, I think LA is around 11 and a half hours, longer from anywhere else. So you may have to go indirect, but if you're going from Europe, from the UK, there are options to obviously fly to hubs elsewhere, like Amsterdam and things like that, and you can connect through from there. Yeah. It just depends on the cost. Sometimes you can save some money and it's worth doing. It's just whether you can handle that longer flight.
Yeah. And in terms of arrival airports, there are two options for Japan. So you've got the main two airports are Haneda and Narita.
Yeah, Haneda is closer to Tokyo. It's about half an hour from Disney, and Narita is about an hour. So we will talk about how to get there afterwards. Just thinking about arrival times, the BA flights all come in early in the morning, so it's normally between 7 AM and 9 AM. So you do lose that night's sleep, so it's worth factoring in that when you land, you are going to be quite tired if you don't get sleep on the plane, like I didn't.
To be fair, you did try so hard, but you do struggle on flights to fall asleep. Yeah.
So that is an important thing to note about hotels when we come onto it, is that check-in doesn't happen till check-in time.
Yes, and we will come on to that shortly.
Yeah. In terms of cost for the flights, we use tools like Skyscanner or Google Flights. Most airlines release about 11 and a half months before, so just compare flight pricing. It does vary through the year. You could get it as low as £500, or sometimes when it's busier up to 900 sometimes we've seen, so that's just for an economy flight. So you really need to time it well and off season.
Yeah, and then obviously there are sales that happen at various points of the year, so there are different points where you could pick up a great deal.
Definitely. There's no specific visa required for UK citizens, so when you're on the plane you fill out an immigration card and you also fill out a customs card. Both of those are in English, really quite easy to fill out. If you've been to the US, I'd say the ESTA system is harder. So you just fill these two pieces of paper out, they give you them on the plane, and when you get there it's done. There's no visa charge or anything like that.
No, and I can't take any credit for filling in those visas because that is your job.
It is.
It kind of passes half an hour or so when you can just write them out on the plane and it's all done before you land.
So we'll show you a picture of the visas on the screen now. So moving on to transport, there are a few options for when you land at both those airports. We're going to focus specifically on travelling from the airports to Tokyo Disney, because this is specifically about that. There's taxis.
There are taxis, and there is also the option of Ubers.
Yeah, Uber exists there, yeah.
Uber does exist there. However, from our own experience from the airport to Tokyo Disney, it is quite expensive.
Yeah, taxis and Ubers are taxis in Japan generally are very expensive because public transport is so good. Our recommendation is to use the airport limousine bus. Sounds like a limousine, but it's not. It's just a nice coach.
It's just a nice coach, yeah. So don't be fooled by the limousine part.
But it's really good. I mean, an Uber is probably about $80 to Disney from Haneda. The limousine bus is about $8 to $10. So it's a massive difference in price. Then the service is absolutely brilliant. So when you land at Haneda or Narita, you just go to the airport limousine desk. You can book the next available one, and off you go. We did opt to use Uber on our most recent trip purely because of the timing. We had a lot of luggage with us, and if you land at Haneda, you have to transfer from the international terminal at certain times of day over to the other terminal, which is very easy to do, but we just didn't want to do it when we were that tired and we wanted to get there.
So we decided to just pay a little bit extra, or quite a bit extra, to get in an Uber and just make our way onwards to Disney.
Yeah, and if in terms of cost from Narita, it's about $20, $25 from Narita on the airport limousine bus. And it makes stops at all the Disney hotels and the partner hotels as well. So worth looking at. And they're quite frequent in the afternoon, the buses. If you're travelling from central Tokyo to Disney, then it's about 20 minutes from Tokyo Station into Maihama. Very easy. The only thing we'd say about Tokyo Station, it's massive.
It is big, yes. It is almost like a maze.
It is.
Yeah, it's because underground maze.
So although we're saying it's 20 minutes when you leave Tokyo Station, if you're coming in from somewhere else in Tokyo, you need to allow a lot of time for getting from one end of that station to the other, which on our first trip we didn't bargain for. It probably was a 15-minute walk to get from the subway that we'd taken completely over to the other side of the station.
It took a while, and I think we didn't really appreciate how long that would take, so I think that's a very big tip that we would offer anyone that's coming in.
Yeah, allow lots of time.
Allow lots of time, yeah.
When you arrive at Maihama Station at Disney, it's the nearest station, Maihama, Maihama, Maihama. It's right at Disney. So you literally come out and you're in Xperi, which is like downtown Disney, and you can immediately board the monorail to connect you to the parks.
Yes.
So it's very easy.
When you're coming in on the train, you will see clearly Disney and Xperi and the resort as a whole, so you can't miss it.
Yeah, transport is easy.
Yeah.
So, next, where to stay. There are a lot of options for you in terms of where to stay in Tokyo.
Yes. So to start with, there are 3 main on-site official Disney hotels. The first one being the Tokyo Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah, the most amazing one.
The most amazing. And if you followed us on our recent vlogs and last year's vlogs, we did have we were lucky enough to stay there. There is also the Miracosta.
Oh, that is our dream hotel.
Yeah.
It is right at Disney Sea. It's literally in Disney Sea.
Yeah.
So you are in the park. That is one we're going to have to stay at if we go again.
Yeah, I think if we go again, that might just be the next one we stay at.
It's also the most expensive.
Yeah. Just want to put that disclaimer in, it is quite expensive. And the third one is the Ambassador Hotel, which is actually based pretty much inside Xperi, which is kind of like Disney Springs, downtown Disney type area.
Yeah, so those 3 hotels are on the monorail loop. You get some great benefits from staying on site. Happy 15. Now, for those in America who are used to extra magic hours, when you're getting an hour before or more, a Happy 15 gets you in 15 minutes before. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but in Japan, with the queues, it is a godsend, and it's a massive, massive benefit just to get in and get that first couple of fast passes for the day.
Yes.
It's perfect. So you can get in 15 minutes early, and what they'll do is you have a completely separate entrance, and they'll get you all in first before the rest of the guests come in. And considering people normally arrive 2 hours before, it's a very good benefit.
Yeah.
You also can park hop from the day you arrive. So we're going to come on to tickets, but when you stay at a Disney hotel, you can park hop from day 1. Whereas if you stay anywhere else, you have to specify your parks for day 1 and day 2, and then day 3 or 4 you can hop.
And we'll come on to that shortly. And I suppose the other benefit I can think of is the ability to send your shopping back to your resort.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So those hotels, you can send your shopping back, which is a benefit if you buy a lot.
Like us.
And there's a free monorail. So the monorail is only free if you stay at those 3 Disney hotels. They give you a special ticket that allows you to get in there.
Yes.
If not, you have to pay for the monorail, but it's not very expensive.
No.
And our last benefit really is the location.
Absolutely.
So the Tokyo Disneyland Hotel is at the Disneyland Park.
You exit the hotel and you are pretty much smack bang in front of Tokyo Disneyland.
Yeah, you could throw a stone and touch. You wouldn't want to throw a stone.
You wouldn't want to throw a
nice,
stone, clearly, but you walk out and you are in Disney. So you do not have to go far.
No, you still have to join the main queue to get in. There isn't a special entrance, which is a shame. There's only in the morning for Happy 15. The Miracosta is obviously at Disney Sea, as we've said, and that's a great location, and they do have a special entrance.
And a lot of the rooms actually literally face inwards to Mount Prometheus, and you get an amazing view of the park. So
Yeah.
that's a lovely hotel to stay in.
One thing to say about that is the rooms sell out very quickly, especially the ones that have the view into the park. To book hotels on site, it's 6 months before they go on sale. So it's, for us, we're used to booking a year in advance. It's not, it's 6 months before. And you pay a deposit and then you pay the full balance when you're there. So it doesn't mean you have to pay the full amount up front, and it's normally midnight Japan time they go on sale. And if you want one of those great view rooms, you need to be on at midnight.
You do, yeah.
Fortunately, midnight in Japan is, what time is it for us? 4 p.m?
Is it 4 p.m?
I think so. So
It's a reasonable time.
It's less, yeah, it's more reasonable.
It's a more reasonable time, our time, when you're trying to book those things.
And then you've got partner hotels. And we've actually stayed in 2 partner hotels.
We have. We stayed at, so last year we stayed at the Sheraton.
We did.
Which was a really great stay. And this year we did one night at the Hilton, Hilton Tokyo Bay.
And they are considerably cheaper. For reference, I think the Disneyland hotel can be up to £300 a night, if not more, for like the park view room. The Sheraton and Hilton you can pick up for £100 a night sometimes when it's cheap.
Absolutely, yeah. So there you can clearly see the difference in price, but they are still on the monorail loop, so you still have that benefit of being very close to the monorail and having quick access to the parks.
Yeah, if you've seen on our videos, you literally walk out the hotel and there is actually a tiny little bus, which is a really amazing Mickey bus.
Cute. They've got Mickey on the side, and last year we went actually on the bus, and they've got the Mickey seats as well, haven't they?
They have, yeah. So that will get you to the monorail station if you don't want to walk for 5 minutes to Bayside Station. But staying at these hotels, you do have to pay for the monorail, and you can buy a pass. I think it's about $2.50 a day roughly. It works out, and it just gives you a little ticket. There are other hotels, some Tokyo branded hotels that are in the same area and maybe cheaper. We stuck to the kind of Western brands purely because the deals were good.
Yes.
You can buy tickets at the Sheraton and the Hilton, and they are guaranteed park entry as well. So sometimes the parks get to capacity and they limit access. Doesn't happen here.
No.
The only difference is you have to select your park for the first 2 days. So you'd have to specify if it's Disneyland Park on day 1 and Disney Sea on day 2, and you can't park hop until day 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So that is the hotels. So if you're arriving from central Tokyo, there is a welcome centre just as you come out of Maihama Station. There's a welcome centre
To the left.
Yeah, and you can actually check in there for your hotel if you're staying on site at Disney, and actually the Sheraton and Hilton you can bag drop as well. And you can drop your bag off. It opens at 7:30 in the morning, and you can get park tickets there. So if you don't want to lug your luggage around to the hotel, you want to get to the park.
Because it's very close to Maihama Station itself, so you don't have to take your luggage too far. It's a great place to bag drop.
So next one is money. You will need lots of it. It is quite expensive, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it is quite expensive.
Park tickets I think are quite reasonable, but the cost for the actual food and merchandise can be quite expensive.
It can be. Certain things we noticed were more expensive than others, so as a whole we would say it's slightly more expensive than what you might be used to.
Yeah, but it is a cash culture. So for example, with the park tickets we mentioned, we bought ours at Hilton. The Hilton only took cash for park tickets.
Yes.
So that was quite a big purchase. If we were talking about a couple of £100 each, having to have the cash. So just make sure you have got a decent amount of cash. In the parks they take card everywhere.
Yeah.
So apart from the carts,
the stands that might want cash only, it's best just to have some cash on you with you.
yeah, but we even found the popcorn stands took card.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't taken enough cash out with us one day, and we thought, oh, we're not going to be able to buy our popcorn holder, and they took card. So
Yeah.
it's most places take card, MasterCard, Visa, American Express is fine. So yeah, but just have a good amount of cash, and it's more, I suppose, if you're travelling outside of Disney that you'd need more cash, because there's a lot more places that don't take card in the rest of Japan.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to go into the Disney parks, you need some park tickets.
You do. Yep. And our key message is buy in advance.
Yeah, there can be some quite big queues sometimes.
Definitely. So there are several options in terms of buying tickets. You can buy on the gate, but the challenge is it's going to be busy.
Yeah.
Potentially. So buy in advance. If you are in Tokyo, downtown Tokyo, you can visit the Disney store in Shibuya, and they will actually sell you the Disney park tickets there. So if you're heading there first before Disney, that is probably a good opportunity for you to buy.
Yeah, we loved it. It's such a beautiful Disney store as well. It's right near the Shibuya crossing, just round the corner. It's very close. It's on 3 stories, and it's just one of the most beautiful Disney stores ever.
Yes.
So it's worth a visit on its own, and if you can buy your tickets while you're there.
And this is what we did last year on our trip last year. We actually bought our tickets from the Disney store in Shibuya.
We did. And also, as we mentioned before, in the hotels. So all the hotels sell them, and the welcome centre. So the queues are all often. I mean, there was no queue at all in the Hilton.
No queue.
It was just straight up to the desk, and we were served instantly.
Yes.
In terms of cost, I'm just going to go through. I'll do it in US dollars, but for a 1-day ticket, it's about 7,400 yen, which is about $74. You can get a Starlight Pass, which is for 3 p.m. on weekends and holidays, so from 3 p.m. like an afternoon, and that's $54, so 5,400 yen. They do an after 6 o'clock pass, so if perhaps your flight gets you in late, you might want to just go in the park for a little while. The after 6 pass is $42, so 4,200 yen. So when we were there, the park was open till 10, so you still get 4 hours out of it.
That's a really good option. You know, if your flight's going to come in late, not having to pay for a full day, get a little bit of a discount. That's a good option.
Yeah, the 2-day pass is $132. The 3-day is $178, and the 4-day is $224. So compared to the US parks, it's quite a bit cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely worth buying them. In terms of buying online, they do sell the tickets online, but they don't accept a lot of international cards. So for example, we tried a Visa, a MasterCard, American Express, debit, credit.
We tried them all.
Yeah, it's a known thing, and it does say that international cards, it's something to do with the security on them. Mm-hmm. They won't take it. If you're lucky enough to get it, that's great, try it, but it generally doesn't work online. So the prices are the same online as they are at the park, so there's no real benefit of buying park tickets cheaper elsewhere.
But I think it's that idea, if you're someone that goes to Disneyland Paris or Walt Disney World, it's that idea of you wanting to buy your tickets in advance. It's just a habit of doing it, but it's more difficult for Tokyo. So
yeah, also everyone's used to shopping around, but the prices are fixed, so it makes no difference where you buy it. The price is the same. Mm-hmm. So. So staying connected while you're there, the hotels all had Wi-Fi, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
I think Hilton does charge sometimes in some rooms, so double check that your room has free Wi-Fi. The Disney hotels have Wi-Fi. The parks don't have Wi-Fi.
No.
There is no free Wi-Fi in either park. But what do?
We used a MiFi.
Yeah, so you can order what the Japanese call pocket Wi-Fi. You can order it in advance. And what we did, we bought ours from Japan Rail Pass. You rent it. So for our 5 days, it was £37. Mm-hmm. The connection is brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
Really quick. I mean, you're talking about sort of 30, 40 megabytes download speed and about 15 up. So it was perfect for everything you needed. And you can connect up to 5 devices. Mm-hmm. So we just stuck that in our bag, and it would connect us for the day.
And the size-wise, it's literally just like a small square, would you say? Just
really small.
Really
like
small.
That big.
Like that big.
Like a credit card size, just a bit big, thicker than a credit card size.
So it doesn't take up, if you want to pop it in your rucksack or your bag or whatever, it doesn't take up any space at all, and it's just really convenient.
It is. So we used the Japan Rail Pass website for that. So it was online.
And that was £37.
Yeah, and what we did is it ordered it to the airport. So at the airport we went to the post office window, just gave our name, showed the confirmation and our passport, and we got it. Mm-hmm. Planning your trip is one of the most important things. Mm-hmm. Look for what rides are closed. some of the big rides are closed for refurbishment like they are worldwide. So try and make sure you're going when your park hasn't got closures. The Tokyo Disneyland website does have all that information on it.
So if there are rides that you are desperate to go on, and this is a once in a lifetime trip, definitely have a look in advance to see what rides might be closed at the time.
And some of the ones we would recommend as like must-dos is like their Tower of Terror, Journey to the Centre of the Earth, Pooh's Honey Hunt, Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc.
These are kind of rides that you don't really have in other Disney parks, or they're themed very differently and they're worth going on. Aquatopia.
How could we forget Aquatopia?
So yeah, check before you go.
Yes.
We also use a website called TGR Explorer. There's a really helpful guy there called Chris. He goes to Tokyo often. He's actually got an ebook which is brilliant. We read that before we went, and it'll probably answer the majority of your questions a lot better than we can. But his website is full of knowledge and he goes very often.
I think he even lives in a local area. So
yeah, he lives in Japan.
He lives in Japan. He's always in the park, so definitely check him out.
Yeah. And then in terms of days for the parks,
so if you're doing like an intro visit, then we would recommend a minimum of 2 days per park. So for Disney Sea and Tokyo Disneyland. But to be safe, if you want to do everything, we'd probably say 3 days minimum per park. Yes. Yeah,
there is so much to see and so many shows. And what we found is that the parade was so good, we wanted to see it twice. So you need to factor in things like that you may not even want to see it once because it's just so much to see.
And the snacks as well, they're big on their snacks. So if you want to get around all the different types of food, again, you're going to need time to do that. So I would say 3 days per park.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, weekdays, you'll get a lot more done. I mean, if you did two lots of days in the weekdays, Tuesday to Thursday, you'd get an awful lot more done than the lines. So just be prepared for lines when you go. So in terms of arriving, make sure you arrive early. The parks opened at 8 when we were there, and guests were arriving from 5:45 in the morning. And it's all very organised, the queues, there's no one pushing or shoving, but you know, there's a lot of people going in, especially on weekends.
Yes.
So yeah, and also just make the most of the fast pass system. We're going to come on to that. Fast passes. If you've been to Florida, you're probably used to the My Disney experience. Not here, you need to go back to the paper passes. I love the little paper passes, and it's the old system, so you go to the ride and put your ticket in, and obviously you'll get a return time.
They're good for the old Instagram poses.
They are. But you get a 1 hour slot in Tokyo Disneyland, and you will be able to get another pass at the time specified. So we once had 3 at once that were all active because of the timings.
Because of the timings, yeah.
But the rides you want to look at are, in Tokyo Disneyland, we said Honey Hunt, Pooh's Honey Hunt, Monsters Inc.,
Space Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain,
and Splash Mountain.
Yes.
They were kind of the rides that had the biggest lines, but also offered fast pass. And in Disney Sea,
Toy Story Mania,
very popular.
Journey to the Centre of the Earth, Indiana Jones, Tower of Terror, and the Nemo Sea Rider.
Yeah, Nemo Sea Rider is not necessarily anything special, but it does have quite a big line often, so it's worth fast passing.
Yeah, and actually when we were doing our early 15 access, we actually used part of that time to go and get in the queue for the fast pass for Pooh's Honey Hunt.
Yeah. Because
that queue, just to get fast passes, quickly built up, so we had the advantage of being pretty much at the front of the queue when it opened.
We did. In terms of must-do rides for us, I think we would have to say that a lot of them we've mentioned.
Yeah.
But Journey to the Centre of the Earth is amazing. It's unlike any other ride in Disney.
This is the ride that's in Tokyo Disney Sea with the Mount Prometheus. So it's an awesome ride. So definitely recommend that.
Inside a mountain.
Yeah.
The Tower of Terror is very good. It has a completely different theme to the other parks, and I think it's themed after the Hightower Hotel, and it's really good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Aquatopia,
of course,
so different but so fun.
And in the summer period, right now I think they do a water version. So we just found that out. You get wet on that one as well.
So loads of rides, and just Japan in general is just amazing. The parade is a must do.
Yes.
The one thing we say about parks: if you only have 1 day, what park would you recommend?
If we only had 1 day, and this might shock a few people, but it would have to be Tokyo Disney Sea.
Yeah,
It really, really would.
It would. As Disneyland, the Tokyo Disneyland Park is amazing, but Disney Sea is just unlike any other park anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And if you've got one day, that's the one to do.
Yeah. I always think of Disney Sea as the kind of park that just gets dreamed up by Disney as one of those, oh yeah, we might do that, crazy ideas. It actually happened.
Yeah.
So it is an amazing park.
And you can see that there's been no expense spared. The money that's been spent on that park is amazing. Oh, we forgot Sinbad as well.
Oh, Sinbad.
Sinbad.
Yes.
Don't miss the Sinbad ride.
Yeah.
It's such a good ride with
Chandu.
Chandu, who's my little pass holder.
And I'm representing the aliens. You can't quite see it's down here, but representing.
So language, something that comes up very often is the language barrier, and people worry about, oh, they're not going to speak any English, or I'm going to be lost in translation. Don't worry. The majority of cast members speak some level of Japanese. English. You'd hope they speak Japanese. Speak some level of English, and if they don't, they'll find someone who can. And we have never had a problem asking questions. But some of the tips we have is make sure you learn some basic phrases. So it might be like, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Or ohayo gozaimasu, which is like good
yeah.
day kind of thing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Putting Rich on the test now.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Yes.
So just these very, very small basic phrases, they go 100 miles with the Japanese, and they just appreciate you making the effort. So, you know, Japanese is a very hard language to learn. We've only learned some very basics, but it's very appreciated. But we've always found if we get really stuck, sometimes the cast members will even get Google Translate out themselves. Or if you get something up on your phone, like, do you remember the alien mochi?
Oh, the alien mochi, yeah. We just basically got a picture up on our phone, didn't we?
Yeah, it wasn't in the same place where it was last year. It wasn't this year, so we thought, oh no, they've not got any. So we found a cast member and just had the picture of the alien mochi, which is the little alien dumplings, showed it to the cast member, and they just directed us to where it was.
Yeah.
So, you know, use tools around you, but definitely don't be put off, especially in Disney.
And the other thing was just things like hand symbols. Just for example, when we were asking if something was in stock, so I basically took something off the shelf and said, do you have this, just in a different design, and just like they did the cross, didn't they?
Yeah.
And a simple thing like that just says out of stock, or no, we haven't got it in for whatever reason. You quickly know it's a no.
Yeah.
Without having to struggle trying to put a sentence together.
Yeah, definitely. So a couple of other little bits, just in terms of etiquette and things. The queues, everyone is very much queuing culture. So there's no pushing or shoving. Everyone lines up, and personal space is very respected. So, you know, there's lines for everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes the popcorn line can have a half-an-hour line.
It's an attraction in itself, popcorn.
Yeah. The parades, the front rows will all sit down, and people do arrive very early. On the weekend, for a front row spot, you probably want to be there an hour and a half early.
Yeah.
Other times, for the really best spots, an hour before. And you sit on the floor and you stay seated.
You stay seated, yeah. And the other courteous thing that the Japanese do as well, especially if it's a hot day or even rainy day, with the umbrellas, you might notice they still have their umbrellas, but they will quickly come down shortly before. Someone will come along and tell them to put the umbrellas down. Everyone does it. And with the mats, if you decide to sit on the floor, so the mats can come out, is it 60 minutes?
Yeah, 60 minutes before they can have their mats they can sit on.
They can sit on their mats, and everyone sticks to that. There's no arguments. It's all very clear.
Yeah, so all strollers are put down as well. If you want to stand up, just let the cast member know you want to stand, and they'll tell you at which point you can start standing. So it's normally about 6 or 7 rows back of sitting. They'll then allow standing. It may even be more than that. In some places it varies. But you can stand, like we could stand by in American, what's it called? American Land. Western Land.
Western Land,
sorry,
yes.
Western Land. We could stand about 4 rows back at a certain point, so it just depends. But there's loads of benches. We sat on a bench.
Yeah, there are loads of benches actually, so you kind of have the option. But even when we were sat on the bench for Dreaming Up, there were loads of benches free, but a lot of the Japanese preferred to sit on the floor.
Yeah,
so
they do. In terms of like the sizing for the rides, this was a question that came up. I wouldn't worry, it's Disney. They have generally made sure that The rides are fine. We had no problems, and I think the cast members are very, very good. So just speak to them if you're concerned, and they'll let you know.
Definitely. So another topic is the awesome shows in both the Tokyo Disney Park and Disney Sea. Now, one of the things you might not be aware of is the shows. Some of the shows you have to win the lottery. So basically, you can use your park ticket at various locations to enter the lottery, which will tell you whether you've won a seat at one of the many showings of each show.
Yeah, and you just then get, obviously you can go and queue up if you want, but you may not get a guaranteed seat. This is the way to get a guaranteed seat.
Yeah.
And we tend to find if you pick a later showing, you've got more chance, and it worked for us, and we won the lottery.
We did win a lottery, and the cast member was super excited for us, because we were quite excited, because we tried to win, was it Big Band Beat?
Yeah.
Big Band Beat is a show in Disney Sea, which is amazing, and we tried to win it last year. We didn't. This year we did.
And it was such a good show.
Really good.
So, well, you just literally just scan your ticket and it does it.
Yep.
Food time.
Food.
So the food, there is obviously a good array of food. There's burgers, there's fries, and there's also a lot of Japanese options as well. We found no issue with finding food, and I don't eat fish, I don't eat a lot of meat, but there was options everywhere we went. The menus are in English as well, and if they're not, then you just ask for the English menu, but it's generally printed underneath.
Generally printed underneath, yeah.
And also, most of the restaurants have got like real like plastic molds of what the food looks like.
Yes.
So you can get an indication of what you're going to get.
And they look really realistic.
They do.
They look, what they show in these molds pretty much looks exactly like what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So they're a great indication.
So in terms of quick service, there's no issue at all. You just go around and line up. The making reservations bit is a bit more challenging. They call it priority seating rather than a reservation. If you're staying at a Disney hotel, you can do it 30 days before online. So because we were staying at Disney both times, we did Chef Mickey and we did Horizon Bay, and it was really easy just to go on, pick your time slot 30 days before, and then you just get confirmation. And it was so easy.
It was really easy.
If you're not staying at Disney, it's on a Japanese only website, so it's a bit more of a challenge. But the best thing to do is go to the restaurant you want to go to when it opens, which is normally about 10 AM, and see if they've got any reservations same day. That's the only thing we sort of know to do on that.
Yeah. And then snacks, so many snacks. They're very popular very big on their snacks. You've got the popcorn in a variety of weird and wonderful flavours.
All around the park.
All around the park. Special shout out for the curry popcorn.
Yes.
Probably the milk chocolate popcorn was very popular.
And
there was like a shrimp and...
It changes through the year.
Changes throughout the year.
The soy sauce one's good.
That's good, yeah.
And also like churros and ice creams and lots of different snacks. And then the other thing to note is tipping. Tipping is not known in Japan, so you don't tip. And if you do leave a tip, they'll probably chase after you and give it back.
Which we found last year.
Yeah, we did. In TGI's, we left some change because we were in a hurry, and they did give it back to us. So you don't have to tip anywhere you go.
Yeah,
it's customary.
No tipping.
Merchandise is amazing. There's so much merchandise, but it does go quickly. So one thing we found is that just the sheer amount of people buying merchandise, things go fast. So when you are shopping for merchandise, if you see something, buy it. Don't think, oh, I'll come back to that in a few days. Get it there and then.
Yeah.
They have an awful lot of gifts because a lot of Japanese buy merchandise as gifts. So lovely tins of chocolate and things like that, and it's all nicely done. And you'll also get extra bags. They'll always offer you extra carrier bags to split your gifts up. So say you've got 5 items, they'll pack it in one bag, but then they'll give you 4 extra bags to give the gifts out.
Because I know you're going to want to gift it, and everyone loves a Disney bag. The other thing to mention is on the tins of chocolates and sweets and things, they do have in a display case next to it what's actually contained inside, what the chocolates look like, what the sweets look like. Just so you can kind of get an idea whether it's something you want to buy or not.
Yeah.
Because they're all sealed and you're like, what's in there?
Yeah, and just check, because we bought one last year and we thought it was biscuits or cookies, and they were fish. Fish flavoured.
Fish flavoured crisps or something.
Yeah. One thing to definitely get is a pass holder. These are all different characters. We've got Mickey, we've got Donald, all the characters.
Yeah, the aliens.
Yeah.
I think I actually got 2 of these.
And they've got a little zip compartment. They've got a string attachment here. They've also got a little zip compartment you can put stuff in. And then you can put your pass in here. So you can put your monorail ticket or your park ticket.
Or your fast passes.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. They are extremely popular. I think every other person in the park pretty much have one of these.
And they're
major
so
popular.
good.
And they're well stocked. I mean, we went busy on the weekend, for example. There's lots of varieties, and they're well stocked.
Yeah. So I think the last thing we'll just say is about if you're a solo traveller, I'd say have no issue with recommending going. It's such a safe place, inclusive. The cast members there was times when I wasn't with Rich, whether we were part shopping or whatever, and they may have thought we were solo travellers, and just the treatment you got from them was amazing. And they'll always check you're okay.
And they're always happy to take a picture for you, which has come up on a couple of occasions on our vlogs. They just come up out of the blue, and even if you don't look like you're taking a picture, they will say, "Do you want me to take your picture?"
Yeah.
It's just amazing experience.
And talking about pictures, they do have they don't have photopass photographers in the park, but they do have photographers out and about. So with the characters, there'll always be a handler there who can take your picture. So that's really handy. And some of the rides have got photos.
Yep.
And there is like a pass you can buy. We didn't look into that because I think it was a bit expensive. But you can get some photos on some rides.
Yes.
We hope you found that really useful. We've answered a lot of your questions. If you've got any other questions, please post them below and we'll respond.
Yep, comment below, and really hope that you're now thinking of a trip to Tokyo Disney, because it deserves the attention, it really does.
It does. And check out our vlogs, because we do have a lot of tips and examples in our actual vlogs as well.
Yes.
So thanks everyone.
Thank you very much.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Imagination.
Yeah.